everyone. I'm from Philippines. Before I will start, I would like also to congratulate the Royal Golden Awardees tonight. And I hope we'll be part of that soon. Okay. Okay, so I would like to express my gratitude to the organizer for accepting my paper for oral presentation in this international forum. So may I present to you our research study in the Philippines, specifically in the province of Bukidnon, titled Policy Analysis on the Legal Framework on Access to Quality Basic Education. So the researcher, yours truly, from the College of Education, Central Mindanao University, Maramag, Bukidnon, Philippines. So the United Nations embraced the principle that education is a fundamental human right, and access to education must be complemented by its quality, because education serves as a cornerstone of development. So this is anchored in our SDG, or Sustainable Development Goals, specifically the SDG 4, that is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. The nations expressed their urgent commitment to a comprehensive, ambitious, and inclusive educational agenda, ensuring that no one is left behind. That's according to Incheon Declaration in 2015. The 1987 Philippine Constitution affirms the right to quality basic education, in addition to significant budget allocation. So our government consistently enhances the educational system to align with global standards. Despite notable improvement in access to basic education, the Philippines continues to encounter challenges in various sectors of its educational system. So quality education remains elusive, with poverty acting as a major barrier. That's according to Maligalig et al. 2010. To tackle these challenges, the Philippine government has enacted several laws, and one of which is the Republic Act 10533, that is known as uh, Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. While this reform was anticipated to enhance the academic performance of basic education Filipino learners, the National Achievement Test, that is NAT, results revealed different narratives. The NAT administered to Filipino learners in grade 6, 10, and 12 has shown a steady decline in student performance over the past 3 years, categorizing them under low mastery and low proficiency, descriptive level, low proficiency descriptive levels. Moreover, program for international student assessment of PISA, which is recognized globally. The Philippine results released in 2019. The Philippines recorded the lowest score in reading comprehension among 79 countries, ranking second lowest in mathematics and science. These poor results of national achievement and international assessments clearly show that the performance of Filipino students is low and struggling. So this is an alarming situation that needs to be immediately addressed. In an article, uh, in an article in the Asian Post dated December 5 of 2019, according to Arturo Breeze, the director of IMD World Competitiveness Center, told the media that the Philippines labor force is not as equipped with the skills that firms seek. We witnessed that the Philippines deteriorated its ability to provide the economy with the skills needed by the company. This observation points to a mismatch between school curriculum and the demands of companies. Quality also remains a concern. Addressing these problems will require a continued commitment to increase funding for education and an efficient mechanism to ensure the funds are spent most effectively. Quality education is essential to the country's economic development and sustainability. Hence, this paper is conceptualized. Now, this paper identifies the root cause of low performance in the national and international assessments by analyzing the country's presently and currently implemented educational policy, that is the Public Act 10533. Specifically, it will see the legal landscape and background of the policies and identify the gaps in the formulation, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of the policies in the context of curriculum and instruction, teacher development, and learners' development. This study analyzes statutory policy on quality basic education using the input process output or IPO model. Specifically, the study intends to identify the gaps in the formulation, implementation, monitoring, evaluation of relevant basic education policies. Then, it also recommends feasible policy options for basic education. Moreover, this study emphasizes on policy analysis that is anchored on rational choice theory, which accordingly man, as a rational being, calculates the outcomes of choices that are aligned with one's objectives. The policymakers need an independent study on the policies implemented to ensure that desired objectives are achieved. The policy analysis consists of the problem analysis and, of course, solution analysis. Problem analysis seeks to understand the problem of the policy using empirical evidence. The focus of the study is on the problem analysis part, which could be used by the Department of Education and the National Economic Development Authority. These are agencies in the Philippines, government agencies. In this study, the statutory policy that is the Republic Act 10533, or we called it the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, mandated the incorporation of 2 more years of high school to the basic 10-year education cycle in the Philippines. Will be analyzed, or it is analyzed. The input process output model is the framework of the present study or of this study. The input here, that is the statutory policy, that is the Republic Act 10533. Then the process are the legislating mechanism that converts inputs to outputs. So in this study, these processes include the implementation, monitoring, evaluation of the statutory policy vis-a-vis regulatory policy, that is the department orders. The tools used in these processes and experiences of key stakeholders. The output is the status quality of basic education and the policy recommendation as input of the National Economic Development Agency to the Department of Education. The study employed qualitative research design. Qualitative description provides a diverse description based on the experiences of the participants of the study. It determines and explains the gaps in the formulation, implementation, and evaluation of the statutory policy in the Department of Education. And lastly, it provides explanation on the unquantifiable data such as participants' intra and interpersonal experiences. On the other hand, qualitative content analysis It's a qualitative research method that is used for subjective interpretation of the content of text data through systematic classification processes of coding and identifying themes or patterns. So the participants were grouped according to their participation in the crafting and implementation of the policy. These are the DepEd division chief and an education supervisor. And of course, we have also from finance and planning section for the budget in the division of Department of Education. The two participants in this group helped the researchers understand the potential economic and budgetary impacts and the legal landscape of the considered policy. So there were also validation made on the identified gaps, problem statements, and policy recommendations to key stakeholders. Now, the validation was conducted with the FGD participants. The second validation was made through a regional research forum attended by the Department of Education officials and administrators. That is the National Economic Development Agency and the local government units and other stakeholders. So these are the results. The study intended to answer the gaps in the formulation, implementation, monitoring, evaluation of education policy. And the findings revealed the following gaps. Now, this for the formulation of policy, we derived the following themes: inclusivity and feedbacking. And then for the implementation, we derived 5 themes, that is consistency of the curriculum, work alignment of the teachers, assessment procedures conducted, the teacher support, then leadership competence of the school principals and the rest of the administrators. And we also found out the gaps in monitoring evaluation of the policy. So there were 2 themes derived. These are actually the human resources and of course the monitoring evaluation mechanism. So after knowing the results, there were recommendations also formulated based from the result of the study. So for the policy formulation, it is recommended to strengthen the consultation process in the policy formulation, ensuring that varying demographics and contexts of locales and typology of basic education schools, such as hard cost, or we have the indigenous people schools, central schools, conflict affected and disaster prone area schools, may also be included in the policy formulation. And of course, consultation with stakeholders can be done at the division level to ensure the policy implementers are involved in the decision-making process. So it is also recommended to strengthen parental support in the policy formulation to create a sense of ownership, which is critical for successful policy implementation. And lastly, provision of emergency plans in anticipation of crises, pandemics. So this may be done to ensure continuity of teaching and learning. For the policy recommendation of implementation, it is also highlighted that it is recommended competencies needed by the learners, so that cognitive load of students and workload of teachers might be reduced whenever necessary. It's also recommended to employ measures to increase parental participation in policy implementation. Then next, assess the training needs of teachers. And of course, lastly, rationalize the use of local dialects in instruction to ensure that it facilitates, not hamper, the acquisition of competencies tested in the National Achievement Test. And then for the recommendation for policy monitoring evaluation, it is highlighted that there's a need to improve the post-monitoring feedbacking system to ensure that appropriate decisions can be formulated by the concerned officers. Then recalibrate the monitoring tools to suit the unique needs of the elementary and secondary schools based on typology. Then strengthening the utilization of assessment data and monitoring tools to address contextual disparities. So much for that. That is all about our research, and thank you for listening.